Wakefulness is low-level brain damage, while sleep is neurological sanitation. This is one of the ways in Why We Sleep. Matthew Walker highlights the importance of sleep. In brief, it restores our neurological functions after a heavy day of use. The thing is though, this is only one in many ways in which sleep helps keep us healthy. It's like nature's way of restoring us, refreshing us, healing us, and looking after us, and ultimately leading to a long-lasting life. But when we deprive ourselves of a healthy amount of sleep, the consequences can be literally life-threatening. In this video, we're going to talk about how sleep could save your life. I think one of the most disturbing facts about sleep is that we can never get it back, right? So when we lose sleep, when we become sleep deprived, it just endlessly adds up. So we can't deprive ourselves of sleep during the week, because of work and socializing and all those different things. And then at the weekend, sleep loads and try and catch up again. It doesn't work like that. Once sleep is lost, it's gone in a forever, a mounting pile of debt. And over the course of our lives, this pile of debt just adds up and adds up and adds up. But to fully understand this pile of debt, its consequences, and what actually sleep deprivation is, we need to understand exactly what is deprivation, what is a healthy amount of sleep, and what isn't. According to sleep experts like Walker and other scientists and people who study sleep, we should be getting 8 hours a night sleep every single night, and then they also recommend about a half hour to an hour nap sort of in the early afternoon. So that's 8 hours every night with a little nap each day, and that is the healthy suggested amount of sleep. That means anything less than that is sleep deprivation, meaning you aren't getting enough sleep. And the problem lies in the fact that not only is this suboptimal, but it's actually harmful. One of the first ways in which sleep deprivation affects us is it absolutely destroys our immune systems. Have you ever wondered that when you're ill, you're told to sleep loads, not just because you're tired and you need to recover, but people literally say, go to bed, go sleep it off. It's because during sleep, our immune system is boosted, restored, recalibrated, and helps fight off all those infectious diseases and viruses. But this isn't just for, fighting off that cold you've got, it's for prevention of much worse and deadlier diseases. Overall, getting a healthy amount of sleep over a prolonged period of time boosts our immune system and is going to stop us getting ill as frequently. And an illness that this is particularly relevant to in terms of prevention is cancer. Now, I just want to throw it in here. I'm not saying, and this book by Matthew Walker is not saying, if you sleep 8 hours every single night and you nap for half an hour every single day, you are never going to get cancer. That is not what this book is saying. However, what the experts do say is that if we are constantly getting enough sleep, our immune system is going to be in a much better place to deal with things like cancer than if we are sleep deprived, where it's going to be weaker and more vulnerable. So one of the best ways to prevent and fight cancer is to make sure you are sleeping well. Now, another illness and disease which can be fought, prevented, and hopefully stopped by healthy amounts of sleep is heart disease. In this book, Walker references this study done, which I found absolutely fascinating. And it's of this Greek town, and I can't remember what the town was. I'm not sure if they even mentioned that. But basically, in that town, for the longest time, they had afternoon naps. So the shops would close, after lunch for a few hours, and then open again in the late afternoon, and stay open much later into the early evening. And that was their routine, mainly because they'd have that rest period of sort of midday, obviously peak heat conditions, but also it'd be a time where people would go and have a nap, right? And then to keep up with modern culture and consumerism, this town stopped. They all stopped having this break. They kept their shops open, and they no longer had these afternoon naps. And this study was done, right, of 23,000 adults in this town, okay, who were part of that economy, part of that system, of all different ages and health conditions, a massive range. And they studied them over a 6-year period with frightening results, where at the end of this period, scientists somehow worked out that the risk of heart disease, or particularly dying from heart disease, increased 37% for these people after no longer taking their afternoon nap. That is just from missing an afternoon nap, never mind sleep deprivation throughout the night as well. Another tragic disease, Alzheimer's, is linked with sleep, or well, the deprivation of it. Now with this one, there is still so much more research to be done because we still don't really know that well how to fight Alzheimer's. However, there's been so many links over the years between sleep and Alzheimer's that they're pretty sure that link is at like 100% now. And so are we again saying if you sleep 8 hours a night and have that afternoon nap, are you going to be free from Alzheimer's? Are you 100% safe from it? You know, this is a personal fear of mine because that kind of thing runs in my family. But I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it's a preventative and it's going to give you the best chance of fighting it. So there are 3 pretty morbid and terrifying consequences which literally could save our lives if we focus on getting healthy amounts of sleep every single day. However, there are more consequences than that to sleep deprivation, consequences which, you know, crop up in our everyday lives. The first one is that insufficient sleep affects our ability to learn and store new information. So during sleep, and this is covered in my previous video on about, you know, exactly why do we sleep, the brain stores out previous information, things you've learned that day, memories, it sorts it and stores it. However, if we're getting insufficient sleep, this isn't going to happen as well, and it's actually going to damage how much we can learn. Second, during sleep, right, we have these like mini therapy sessions that sort out our emotions and try and untangle the knots and the mess from that previous day. And if we aren't getting enough sleep, this isn't going to happen. And things like mental health conditions can really be amplified without these sort of sleep therapy sessions. You know, and alongside our emotional well-being, a third thing that sleep does is that it recalibrates 2 parts of the brain which are meant to work together but during the day stop working as well with each other. And so this is the emotional side of our brain and the emotional decision-making part, but also then the rational decision-making. So in an ideal world, after you've had a great night's sleep, these 2 parts of the brain, they work together. So you've got your rational decision making and your emotions influencing each other and working together to help us make our daily decisions. However, as the day goes on, as we get more tired, the emotional side starts taking control more and more and more, and our rational decisions become less. And so if we're continuously depriving ourselves of sleep, building up that sleep deprivation, we aren't going to be letting those 2 parts recalibrate and work together well, meaning that our decisions are going to be incredibly emotional, which isn't always a bad thing, but you know, we do need our rational decision making. Number 4, now believe it or not, but our weight, our health, how much mass we are carrying is affected by the quality of our sleep. So the first thing that happens with this when we sleep is that our body literally sorts out, stores, you know, works through the calories we consume that day. And if we don't get enough sleep, that process is not going to happen. But equally, the second part of this is that during our sleep, our body balances out 2 chemicals, leptin and ghrelin. Leptin is the chemical which communicates to our brain that we are full, and it tells us, I don't need to eat any more food. Whereas ghrelin is the opposite. It's that chemical which tells our brain we're hungry. But the problem is, if we are letting ourselves become sleep deprived, the consequences are that those chemicals are going to become imbalanced, that ghrelin is going to produce more and more and is never going to get balanced out. So our body is going to be constantly telling us we're hungry, we're hungry, we're hungry. And so therefore, we're going to eat more and more. And so if you're trying to watch your weight, if you're trying to stay healthy, like I think all of us should be, we need to be prioritizing our sleep just so our body can sort out the calories and it can balance those chemicals. And then the final extra, well, at least for this video, because I know there is way more, but the final way sleep deprivation can severely affect us is it has massive consequences for our ability to drive. Now, driving is an essential part of our world. We drive to get everywhere. And actually, whether we realize it or not, driving's a pretty dangerous task at the best of times, right? You know, we're speeding along in these like super heavy metal vehicles and we're trying not to crash into each other. And we know how tragic those incidents are when people do crash. And it literally can ruin someone's life, if not kill them. And where sleep deprivation comes into this is that once you have been awake 19 hours, okay? Once you've been awake 19 hours, you are as cognitively impaired as someone who is drunk. So that means your reactions are going to be as slow. Your eyesight is going to be as bad. You are basically as illegally driving as someone who is drunk is. Now, obviously, it isn't illegal. You know, there are all these signs everywhere that say, please sleep, you know, don't drive for more than 3 hours at a time, but nothing says you can't have been awake a certain amount of time. But it's also problematic that the longer you are sleep deprived, you know, if you're sleeping 6 hours a week for like consecutively for a week, right, that adds up that by that 7th day, you're gonna be as cognitively impaired as if you've been awake 24 hours. That is crazy. And so Walker passionately in this book says, when it comes to driving, think about your sleep. Or when you think about sleeping, think about your driving, right? Not only when you are sleep deprived are you putting your own life at risk, but you're putting the lives of every single person you pass on that road at risk too. Now, all of this may seem pretty scary, pretty doom and gloom, pretty, oh my gosh, I'm screwed because I am sleep deprived and I cannot do anything about it. But I promise you there is hope and there is a solution. And that solution is to prioritize your sleep health. You know, this is the free and easy way. This isn't like changing your diet, spending loads of money on new foods or going to the gym or therapy or whatever else. It's simply saying, I want to give myself enough time to try and get 8 hours of sleep every single night. And if you know you're lucky enough to be in a job where you can do this, to take a small nap every afternoon. That is what looking after your sleep health looks like, and the consequences are huge. I think it's really important to acknowledge that there are areas of our society where we have cultures that idolize those people who sleep 4 hours a night or claim to, where sleep deprivation is the norm and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, those people, if that has been you, I know that has been me a little bit in the past, you're just killing yourself. You know, getting your 8 hours of sleep every single night is gonna make you happier. It is gonna make you more productive at work. It is gonna make you healthier. It's gonna help you stay more level-headed, keep your mental health in better shape. It's gonna help you keep your physical body in better shape with less weight gain. It's gonna help you make more rational decisions rather than be ruled by your emotions. There are so many good consequences of having good sleep health. But ultimately, there are loads of ways in which looking after your sleep health is gonna be good for you. But at the end of the day, the biggest one is, it might just save your life. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider dropping a like below, subscribe to my channel, share this with friends or family who you think it might be useful to. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Ash Porter, and I'll see you next time.